Ida, for telling my wife the lock on my daughter's door stays until my brother-in-law and his daughters are out of our house. All right, Reddit. I need some perspective because my house feels like a pressure cooker, and I'm starting to wonder if I'm the bad guy here. For context, I'm 42, married to my wife, 39, let's call her Lisa, for 17 years, and we have a 16-year-old daughter, Zoe. Lisa's brother, Sammy, 37, and his twin daughters, Olivia and Sloane, both 18, have been living with us for a couple of months, and it's been a lot. I'm trying to be fair, but I'm at my wit's end, and I might have gone too far in a recent argument. Here's the whole mess. Strap in because it's a long one. Some background. Lisa and I have a pretty solid marriage, or at least we did until this situation started spiraling. We're not perfect, money's tight sometimes, and we bicker about little things like who's supposed to unload the dishwasher. But we've always been a team when it comes to Zoe. Zoe's a great kid, super responsible, gets good grades, and works part-time at a local coffee shop to save up for stuff she wants, like clothes or makeup. She's not spoiled. She earns what she has, which makes this whole thing sting even more. Sammy, Lisa's younger brother, has had a rough go of it. About 10 months ago, he got divorced, and it was messy. His ex got the house, and he was basically left with nothing but his car and some debt. Lisa felt awful for him. Her family's super close, and she's always been the one to step up when someone needs help. Sammy bounced around for a bit, staying with friends or crashing at their parents' place. But eventually, he asked if he could move in with us just for a few months while he got back on his feet. I wasn't thrilled, but I agreed because, family. Plus, Lisa was insistent, and I didn't want to be the jerk who says no to someone in a tough spot. At first, it was just Sammy, and it was manageable. He slept on the pull-out couch in our living room, kept to himself mostly, and was working odd jobs to save up. Our house isn't huge, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, so it was already a squeeze, but we made it work. Then, about 2 months ago, Sammy's ex decided she couldn't handle their twin daughters, Olivia and Sloane, living with her full-time anymore. Apparently, they were too much for her new boyfriend or something. I don't know the full story, and honestly, I don't care. So, Sammy asked if the girls could move in with us too. Again, Lisa was all in, saying they're family. They're only 18, and they need stability. I was less sure this time. 3 extra people in our small house sounded like a nightmare. But I said yes because I didn't want to fight with Lisa or seem heartless. Olivia and Sloane are, well, they're typical 18-year-olds, I guess. Loud, always on their phones, and not exactly great at picking up after themselves. They share the guest room, which used to be my home office, so I've been working from the dining table, which is annoying, but whatever. The bigger issue is how they interact with Zoe. Zoe's never been super close with her cousins. They only saw each other at family gatherings growing up, but I figured they'd get along fine since they're around the same age. Nope, it's been tense from day one. The privacy problem. Here's where things start to go downhill. Zoe's always been a private kid. She likes her space, loves her room, and keeps it neat as a pin. It's her sanctuary. Posters of her favorite bands, fairy lights, a little vanity where she does her makeup tutorials for fun. When Olivia and Sloane moved in, they started treating Zoe's room like it's a free-for-all. They'd walk in without knocking, borrow stuff without asking, and leave her things scattered around the house. We're talking clothes, phone chargers, earbuds, makeup, you name it. Once, Zoe found one of her hoodies in the laundry with some kind of mystery stain on it, and she was upset. I don't blame her. At first, Zoe tried to be chill about it. She politely asked them to stop taking her stuff, or at least ask first, but the twins would just laugh it off or say, "Oh, it's not a big deal, we're family." Lisa thought it was no big deal either. She'd say stuff like, "They're just girls being girls, sharing is normal." Sammy was even worse. He'd shrug and say, "Teenagers, what can you do?" I, on the other hand, thought it was disrespectful. Zoe works hard for her things, and she shouldn't have to hide her stuff in her own room. I told the twins multiple times to knock it off, and they'd roll their eyes but say, "Okay, fine." Spoiler, they didn't stop. I tried talking to Lisa about it, but she kept brushing it off. She'd say Zoe was being dramatic or that the twins didn't mean any harm. One time, I caught Olivia using Zoe's school laptop to watch YouTube because her own phone was dead, And when I told her to stop, she acted like I was the one being unreasonable. Lisa backed her up, saying, "It's just a laptop. She wasn't hurting anything." I was starting to feel like I was the only one in the house who cared about Zoe's feelings. Things got worse over time. Zoe started spending more time at her best friend's house or locking herself in her room when she was home. She told me she felt like she couldn't relax in her own house anymore. I felt horrible. I mean, this is her home. She shouldn't have to tiptoe around her own space because her cousins can't respect boundaries. I kept telling Lisa and Sammy we needed to set clearer rules, but they both acted like I was blowing things out of proportion. Sammy even said once, "Zoe's just not used to having siblings. She'll get over it." Dude, they're not her siblings, they're her cousins, and they're guests in our house. I bit my tongue, but I was fuming. The makeup incident. The final straw came about a week ago, and it's what led to the big blow-up. Zoe's really into makeup. She watches tutorials online and practices different looks. It's her creative outlet, and she's actually pretty good at it. She'd been saving up for months to buy this MAC makeup kit that looks like a little paint palette with all these vibrant shades. It cost her $60, which is a ton of money for a 16-year-old working minimum wage. She was so excited when she finally bought it, showing it to me and Lisa like it was a trophy. I was proud of her for saving up and treating herself. A few days later, I get home from work and Zoe's in her room, crying. Like full-on sobbing, which is rare for her. She's usually pretty stoic. I knock and go in, and she's holding this makeup kit, which looks wrecked. The colors are all smudged together. Some of the pans are cracked, and it's just a mess. She tells me she found it on her bed, and one of the twins, Sloan, she thinks, took it without asking and ruined it by mixing the shades while using it. Apparently, Sloan tried to blend the colors or something, and now it's unusable. Zoe was devastated. She kept saying, "I worked so hard for this, Dad. Why can't they just leave my stuff alone?" I was livid. I went straight to Lisa and told her what happened, expecting her to be as upset as I was. "Nope," she sighed and said, "That's unfortunate, but it's just makeup. I'll ask Sloan to apologize, and we'll figure it out." Figure it out? This wasn't an accident. This was someone taking Zoe's property, using it without permission, and destroying it. I told Lisa that wasn't good enough, and she got defensive, saying I was making a mountain out of a molehill. She even suggested Zoe shouldn't be spending so much on makeup anyway, which felt like such a betrayal. Zoe earned that money herself. Why should she be punished for treating herself? That night, I found out Zoe had started moving her valuable stuff to her friend's house because she didn't trust it at home anymore. That broke my heart. No kid should feel like their own home isn't safe. So, the next day, I went to the hardware store, bought a lock for Zoe's door, and installed it myself. I gave her the key and told her she didn't have to worry anymore. She hugged me and said, "Thanks, Dad," and I could tell she felt a little safer. That should have been the end of it, right? Wrong. The fallout. The twins noticed the lock almost immediately. I guess one of them tried to go into Zoe's room and couldn't, so they went straight to Sammy. That evening, Sammy corners me in the kitchen, looking all offended. He goes, "What's with the lock on Zoe's door? My daughters aren't thieves, you know. It's normal for girls their age to borrow each other's stuff." I tried to stay calm and explain that Zoe's had enough of her things being taken and ruined, and the lock was to give her some peace of mind. He doubled down, saying Zoe was being selfish and that she could easily get another makeup kit for $15 at Walmart. Then he had the audacity to say, "Zoe, you shouldn't even be buying expensive adult makeup at her age," and suggested Lisa fix this defect in Zoe's personality, like she's trying to act older than she is. I was floored. Who says that about a 16-year-old who's just into makeup? He finished by accusing me of being overprotective and babying Zoe by enabling her like this. I told him this was between me and Lisa, but he kept pushing, saying I was making his daughters feel unwelcome. Unwelcome? They've been living in my house rent-free, eating my food, and disrespecting my daughter's space for months. I didn't say that out loud, but I was close. Lisa overheard the tail end of this and jumped in, and that's when things really went south. Lisa was upset, not at Sammy or the twins, but at me. She said I was shaming her family by putting a lock on Zoe's door where the twins could see it. She said it was sending a message that we don't trust them and preventing them from spending time with Zoe. Spending time? They don't even hang out. They just take her stuff. She went on about how I'm supposed to treat Olivia and Sloane like my own daughters and how the lock was dividing the family. Then she demanded I take it off. I was done at that point. I told her, this lock stays until your brother and his daughters are out of our house. That was probably where I crossed a line because Lisa's face went red. She accused me of implying we should kick her family out, saying her whole family would hate me for this. I was so frustrated that I snapped back, reminding her that her family refused to take Sammy and the twins in when they needed help. I pointed out that I agreed to let them move in, even though it's been a huge disruption, and if her family had stepped up, we wouldn't be dealing with this mess. It was harsh, I admit, but it's true. Lisa's parents have a big house with plenty of space, but they said no because they can't handle the chaos. So why is it my job to deal with it? Lisa stormed off, and since then, the house has been a ghost town. Sammy and the twins are giving me and Zoe the silent treatment, barely looking at us when we pass in the hallway. Lisa's still mad. She's sleeping in the guest room with the twins now, which feels like she's choosing sides. Zoe's been super quiet, and I can tell she feels guilty, even though I've told her none of this is her fault. I tried texting Lisa to talk, but she just sent back, I need space. I'm starting to second-guess myself. Maybe I overreacted with the lock. Maybe I shouldn't have brought up her family's refusal to help. But at the same time, I feel like I'm the only one standing up for Zoe, and I can't let her keep getting hurt in her own home. Why I might be the jerk. I know the lock is a pretty bold move, and it probably does make the twins feel like we think they're thieves. I didn't mean to humiliate them, but I was just trying to protect Zoe. And yeah, saying the lock stays until they're gone was harsh. It probably sounded like I want to kick them out, which I don't, not really. I just want them to respect our space. Bringing up Lisa's family was a low blow too. I know she's sensitive about how they didn't help Sammy. Maybe I could have handled this more diplomatically, but I was so fed up. I also wonder if I'm being too protective of Zoe. Lisa and Sammy keep saying this is normal teenage girl stuff, and maybe I'm out of touch since I'm a guy and don't get it. Why I don't think I'm the jerk. On the other hand, I feel like I've been more than patient. I let 3 extra people move into our house, even though it's cramped and stressful. I've asked the twins repeatedly to respect Zoe's stuff, and they ignored me. The makeup kit wasn't just makeup. It was something Zoe worked hard for, and Sloane ruined it without even apologizing. Lisa and Sammy acting like it's no big deal is driving me nuts. Zoe shouldn't have to hide her belongings or move them out of the house to feel safe. And honestly, Lisa siding with her brother over our daughter feels like a slap in the face. I'm trying to keep the peace, but I'm not going to sacrifice Zoe's well-being to make Sammy and the twins feel better. So, Reddit, aita, I just want my daughter to feel safe in her own home. But now everyone's acting like I'm the villain. Did I go too far with the lock and the comment about Sammy leaving? Or am I right to stand my ground? I'm torn, and I could use some outside opinions. Sorry for the novel, but I needed to get this off my chest. Thanks for reading.